to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
She's agreed to take this cover.
Okay.
That amount, which is about
Which is, I was
$100
gonna say,
less.
less than 100.
Like $100 less than what the person was, but she hadn't paid yet.
Because she came in and seen it?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's any issue there. The reason the other guy didn't take it is because the title got messed up. And he got mad when he went out there to get the title. He got mad. He thought, I don't want it.
I thought it was because it wasn't cool enough for his grandkid.
No, had nothing to do with that.
Oh,
At least that's the story he gave me.
okay.
Because he stood here and I said, well, you know, we got it fixed with the title agency. You can go back out there and get it. He's like, no, I don't want it. Well, whatever.
Okay.
See ya.
All right, you're up.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're here today, a couple of requests. One, we're asking to move some grant funds from the TCAP grant so that we can apply toward the purchase of a replacement community service van. You may have heard in some of the transactions, unfortunately, the community service van was struck while setting out at the service center. They found that it was totaled. We rely on that van to transport people out to do the community service, to pick up trash and do things like that throughout the community. So we've been kind of out of commission with that since it's been out of service. But we're asking to transfer $15,750 of TCAP grant funds, and you should have a request for transfer for that. We're also asking to use $30,558, which is the insurance proceeds. That's the money that was paid in compensation for the loss of the old van. And that would leave us, we're asking for $15,000 additional general fund dollars to apply to cover what would be the balance that would be left. The total price of the van that we've been able to locate, Brandon spent quite some time trying to find one. First we found one at Rikers. Since then, we've been able to get Norse to actually locate one in West Virginia, transfer it here, so we would be buying local. But in addition to the cost of the replacement van, we would need to put on it a set of lights for hazards. The prior one had lights we had mounted into it so that when the van is off the side of the road, people are picking up trash, it's some type of an alert for oncoming cars or cars coming up behind. We also, it did not come with a hitch. We couldn't find one with a hitch. And we had on the prior van one of those, I think they're called carriers. It's a support that goes on the back to be able to carry some of the extra equipment that they need. So in total, we're anticipating the total cost to be roughly $61,308. With the insurance proceeds, with what we're able to move out of TCAP, out of that grant, and with the $15,000 request from the county, that would be sufficient to cover all the cost of acquiring the van and getting it back in the shape that the other one was to put out on the road.
How much was that insurance? 30,000 something?
30,558. We had given, paid close to 49, I believe, for the original van. The original van was purchased with grant funds from the state, so that would be applied back to the purchase of the new grant. So in effect, the total that the county would have tied up in it would be the $15,000. The balance for the purchase and all would be from either previously received grant funds for the through the insurance proceeds, or through the shifting from TCAP funds of the $15,750. And Brandon can answer any questions about the van. That's beyond my knowledge.
Okay. Kathy, didn't we take some action on this last week?
I think the only thing we did last week was the 30,000, but we knew that we were gonna
The
do the
30,000
30,000.
insurance this week, okay.
Yeah, I think that may have gotten paid in last week, and received,
Questions, comments?
61,308.
as far as, that would not include any signage, we would be able to pay that out of our existing appropriation. That way it identifies it that it is a community service work vehicle and not some strange person parked along the side of the road. so.
Right.
How often do you utilize that van? What's the frequency of those commutes?
Pretty much daily. The only day that it usually doesn't go out is a Friday, and that's only because our coordinator right now is part-time.
Gotcha.
So it gets used every day, almost every day of the week. Like I said, we also use it for times, sometimes when we're transporting drug court participants to pro-social activities in the community, outside the community, because we can tote a bunch of people in it.
Do you know the age mileage of the one that got totaled?
We only had, it was like 31,000 on it at
Oh,
the
it was-
time.
it was new,
Yeah, we bought it brand new in, what, 17?
It's 2017.
And it's been great for us. Bought it brand new at what, just 45, I don't know, 45,000, something like that,
It was-
in 17. And now a brand new one costs 60,000. And I looked high and low for used ones. They just don't become available. People get them, they keep them, they run the wheels off of them.
church vans.
Yeah, large.
Exactly, the transit vans.
Okay. At first I was like, man, that seems real steep for a mini. In my head, I was thinking a minivan, but.
No, it's a big transit van, Ford Transit
Those
van.
are-
It's got a 15 passenger, and also needed the high roof, which was another factor in trying to locate one. And like Deanna said, I finally found a few that were sitting up at Reichert. They were ready to make a deal, but I contacted Norse and.
They're always ready to make it.
Always, bud, always. But yeah, I finally I was working with Norris and they were finally able to locate one. So they went on Friday or Saturday, told me that to go pick it up so that we could make this deal local.
So do you, by chance, check with City Transit to see if they're retiring a van?
I have not.
That might be a worthwhile endeavor. I mean, I don't, personally, I'm one of three, but I don't have a problem with getting a new one. But how, let's see, clock's checking on that being available, right, from Norris, or are they holding it for you?
They're holding it for me because they just went and picked it up this weekend, so.
Okay. Can you call City Transit today and see if they're gonna retire any equipment?
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone particular, Commissioner, that we might ask for there, given your experience with the city?
Paul Corcoran.
Paul Walker?
That's his, not Paul.
He's not there anymore.
He's not there anymore?
I don't know if they still have,
Yeah.
I don't know if they've hired a new one yet or
I
not.
saw an advertisement for a transit director.
Yeah.
So,
Never mind.
Well, that's all right, we'll just inquire.
This van is who we partner with for litter control too. So this is the van that helps us pick up the roadside trash.
okay.
Yeah, we've been without it since Christmas now, so, and, you know, we do almost 300 hours of community service work a month.
So how are they getting their community service done?
Yeah.
He said how, he was asking how.
Oh, how?
Yeah, they doing it just.
Oh, sorry.
You're being
I thought you said finally getting the
No,
community service
how?
work. How? Oh, well, going out with litter control a lot of times. We partner with veteran agencies like Post 757, the VA. Dana goes down and helps clean out helps clean the homeless shelter a lot of days a week. And in the summertime, they go up to Adina Mansions, help there. And then also we'll help with lawn care sometimes with the maintenance guys in the summer too.
But without the van, I think if I caught what you said, how we're getting it done without it.
Yeah, without it.
We've not been able to do as much.
Danny's doing what he can with the contacts that he has and getting people to show up directly to the sites, but we're very limited in what he can do right now.
My thing is, I don't have a problem with it, but if you're asking for $15,000 out of the general, $15,000 out of the general fund, I see the difference of $15,750.
That's what I was saying, we're gonna take out of the grant. We have a TCAP grant,
Okay.
and we're gonna pull money from that, and apply it toward the difference that's needed. So that way, it's not all, we're not looking to the county for the majority of it. This just is the additional amount that we would be asking for. It would be from the county, the 15.
Because you're gonna get one, if you go down the trench, and that thing's gonna have
It's a million miles.
100,000 miles
I understand
at least.
that. I have to ask, but I just sent Luke a text.
Can we just report back, I guess, to your office this afternoon if we're able to reach anyone?
Yeah, if we hear back and we make a decision today, we'll go ahead and grant it. I think that's.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Well, you will see there are actually two requests there. One is asking to transfer the PCAP money, the grant money, and then, because we did not have it in an equipment account, so we're asking to transfer to equipment account. And then the request to appropriate the money from the insurance proceeds back into the equipment account. And then the request, of course, for the $15,000 additional.
Do you have transfer documents there we can act on?
Yeah,
They should be there.
Yeah, that's the stack.
Do you
Oh, we
guys,
already have. Never mind, we already have.
in your budget, do you set any money aside for purchase of a vehicle?
We had not anticipated having to purchase one with the wreck. That was
Right,
a
well,
surprise.
I know the sheriff puts in, like, he's gonna get 5 cruisers, and he puts in his budget that he, enough money for 5 cruisers. My thing is, you just, there's sometimes some people put in their budget, well, I want a budget of $1,000 for this year, or $2,000, or $5,000, and then in 3 years, we're gonna buy a vehicle.
This year, we had not anticipated at all buying a vehicle. Not that many years ago, we were able to buy a SUV that is used to go out to when the officers do home searches and check on probationers and so forth. Unfortunately, it's just not made to transfer people for the work program. So we thought we were in good shape. We had the van, we had, but didn't work out that way.
I don't have a problem.
I think we have $2,000 is all that was budgeted in equipment, because we weren't anticipating, having expenses like this.
Brad, working with that auction.gov or whatever that is, do you ever reach out to other entities to see if they need that equipment, or do you just automatically put there and they go on the market? if they
So
want?
everything that we sell, we put online. So other agencies can look at it. Now, we've had other departments call and say, hey, we'd like that desk, or we'd like that, or we just pull it off the auction and do a transfer for them and they get it. That hasn't happened very often.
Okay. So it's not out of line to see if transits have some equipment that can fill the need.
Say that again?
So it's not unusual that we would ask the city if they have something.
We don't do it with the city. No,
You don't do it with the city.
now, we do sell, mostly what we do is sell. We're not looking to buy
I was just saying, but you
other-
can look to see if there's something on.
You definitely can, yeah. I mean, it's easy to do. You can go online and look for all kinds of stuff. Most of the stuff that gets sold by counties and cities, though, has been used.
Before,
Now, we just sold their Impala, That's what I was talking about before we started, because they had an older car that they don't need any longer, and they're getting rid of it, and they're using that money to help pay for the,
Well, I wouldn't say that we don't need it anymore, but it was just not reliable anymore.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of shape a transit bus being retired out's gonna be.
That's the same thing I'm thinking there.
I was gonna say, I would hate to have to come back in here in another year or two because that thing's kaput. But
Do I hear a motion just to approve this?
So moved. Second.
All
What
in
is
favor,
good?
say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
You guys.
We'll put it to work.
Okay.
Good deal.
have a good rest of your day.
Yep, you too.
Tell North don't to get rid of it because we just bought.
Will do. See you. See ya. You too.
That takes care of this. This is a transfer that takes care of moving that 15,000 tons, and we already approved that, so. All right.
Did you do both of them? Or she got both? Yeah. This is one out of the, this is 15,
Appropriate.
this is 15.
You guys are welcome to be and start with mine. Exactly. That's a fact.
That's a transfer to 15,750. Should have another one in there for 15, should be another one in there for $15,000 out of the general fund.
Yeah,
So
15,000, general fund, 30,000, 558 out of insurance.
Just having some.
Got a second?
Second.
Favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, okay, that's definitely him enough.
So I'm thinking, what? How we doing?
Good, how are you?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Good morning, Mr. Howler, how are you today?
Sorry about that.
We're gonna wait till 9:30 just in case press wants to come in.
We got one more other
Okay.
guy coming. I doubt that the
Yeah, I don't think.
press will want to be here.
Sometimes they do with our stuff, so.
Some name hardly comes up for ours.
People usually like dog stuff, so they don't usually like commissioner stuff, I don't think.
Bills for the week, $1,659,335.16.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, I'm gonna approve it, I just had a couple questions. Hardlines Design Company, Planning Commission. We know that.
Second page.
4,500 bucks. 48.
48, 340.
48,000.
We went to West Virginia, showed us how the college, you go to our college. Come down there, started feeling bad. I spent 21 days at OSU on a event.
So that's something that's coming out of
Interesting.
Which one you looking at?
the hard line.
Hardlines Design Company out of the Planning Commission.
Planning, 48
I'm
through
sure that's
13.
probably a,
That's what I was thinking from,
That may be the traffic study we were talking about last week.
We didn't approve that.
we improved that,
Mhm.
can't spend it if we don't improve. I'm gonna say it's,
probably one of those ACGP grants.
yeah, that's why I say it's probably great.
I'm not saying I wouldn't hold this up at all, or that I would hold this up, I just was curious, so.
Yeah, that might be in one of the 30 counties, or 30 projects over 12 counties too.
I'll make a note to follow up with Devin, but I will second the motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, because I looked at that too, and I'm thinking, well, it's Front Plan Commission, it's,
Yeah, the sheriff's department got my eye.
that's what, 94,000, pretty big, high, pretty big.
Who?
Then and now, $4,196.41.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm just gonna tell them about how much we love them and how great they are, and you can do the rest.
That a girl.
You guys strategizing over there?
We've been doing that for weeks.
No. You're on the right track.
Building done?
Nope. I'm gonna tell you about it in just about 20 minutes,
No, no.
10 minutes.
Okay.
And you personally can make it happen, Judy.
Thank you
Here
very
it
much.
comes. Round the third, headed for home. All right, got the March statement, or the February statement for South Central Ohio Regional Juvenile Detention Center, $50,977.21.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I didn't, I've been here 3 times, and I was like, where is this place? Because I couldn't remember, and as soon as I came in, I did.
Kevin said that's a late one.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, duplex the one in here?
Thanks for getting those numbers.
No, Joanne brought that this morning.
I want you a little time. That's what you give yourself.
We modified the contract with Structure Point,
I haven't done it.
scope, the original scope of work, and it doesn't change the terms of the contract or change the contract amount. Just the language change in the scope of work.
I'm trying to find out washer and a dryer, because the last one.
It's to do with policy recommendations. Is that in addition to that, Kathy, do you know?
I think it's a replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just an amendment to the original contract.
They don't have one floor, but Hastings has Speed Queen commercial. They're just like Queens and Laundromat.
Okay.
Except you don't need quarters.
I think the ones we have are laundry washers, they're not set up for it, but that's what they are. Maybe, I think, and they must do some other company. Maybe that is something like, actually do crappy duty because of, don't care.
It's the scope for the comprehensive plan.
Right. Yeah, it just says the policy recommendations that they've added, the consultant shall produce policy recommendations to achieve plan goals based on public input, findings of the plan, and needs of partner township and the county. That's all that was added. That's the only change.
Right. I think the purpose of the scope change amendment, or whatever proper term is, was to clarify what the plan is actually doing. I think that there was some ambiguity, and that ambiguity, there was concern about the perception that this could be what it's not, which for the language sounded like zoning, even though this is nothing related to zoning. And I think Devin was smart to suggest to directly American Structure Point and Montrose to sit, just to clarify, this has nothing to do with zoning.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. An appropriation for the coroner from general fund to toxicology, $6,372.72. From ODH toxicology reimbursement stated 3/7/25.
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second, but what I did want to just make, probably because I'm a newbie, when we have a request for these appropriations, how do they align with what we've already appropriated within the 2025 budget?
9 times out of 10, they're just moving things around. They're moving from one place to another.
It's not in the proper
Yeah, it's
line
not in the
item.
proper line.
Got it.
They're transferring some money from transportation to lawn and garden. It's just lawn and garden didn't have enough money in there. They just transferred from transportation to lawn and garden to even it out. That's nothing. Still staying within their budget.
This one arts or county government? I take it, and I have a motion here.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
From the auditor's department, from general fund, transfer to airport construction, $141,832. That's in lieu of the blast pad construction and rehab of runway 523.
So
This is
moved.
a matching fund.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Morning, hey, how you doing, Mayor?
Morning.
Yes, sir.
It's from Planning and Development Department, from General Fund, Contract Services, that's paid for legal services and traffic engineers related to economic development, consent, and public finance work for various BOC projects, infrared zone, TIFs, CRAs, etc. $5,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Was that very-
From the Ross County Board of Elections, from the general fund, the contract services for $87,163, supplies for $10,000, election worker compensation for $10,000, for a total of $107,163. This is appropriate grant funds from above expense accounts for upcoming primary elections. This is, says evidently grant money.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Appropriation from commissioners from the VA Restoration Fund, contract project $750,000. That's the VA stadium restoration.
So
And that
moved.
is grant funding.
With the state grant. Second.
Yeah. Favor say aye.
Aye. Right, I was out there the other day,
Where's that?
out there at the stadium.
That looks different, doesn't it? Is the stripes gonna stay in there, or is that just
Yeah, that's, the stripes is gonna be, it's gonna be striped out like that.
Yeah.
So I was asking the guys, I said, once you guys get, you know, because they were gluing stick together, the seams and stuff like that, and I said, if you're spraying water on this to make the glue activate, what's gonna happen when it rains? He said, oh, once it's glue, they come apart. And I said, so how do you keep this thing down? What's it-
Sand and rubber.
Sand and rubber, and they'll put like a carpet strip on the edges, just like they do in your house. And he said,
Yeah.
because, he said, they don't put staples stuff like that in the middle of your carpet in your house, do you? And I said, no. He said, we don't do it here either.
It was amazing to me that there was no padding under that. You know,
It's just
they were
gravel.
Right on that gravel.
The same thing I said. I said, they backed that gravel down, and the guys were out there, and first everybody was standing around. Because they was waiting on the other guy to bring the water so they could spray them. The big shot come over and said, what are you guys just standing around for? Then the guy looked at me and said, what are you doing in here? And I said, whoa, before we go any farther.
Should've seen him trying to put that.
I'm not a patient out here.
Put that stuff down the other day in that 30-mile-an-hour.
Oh, yeah, that's when I was out there.
Yeah, that went by there then too. So we got the wall figured out?
The bids are due on Friday, so we'll have it get it next week.
Got a matter of seconds here. We gotta wait for the press. Our times are published, so.
Not a problem.
We'll wait. And it is 9:30, so it's your time. Welcome.
Hi,
Thank you.
I think most of you know, I'm Jen Thomas. I'm the executive director at the Humane Society. I've been there for about 10 years. I've lived in the community for about 15 years. I just want to first of all say thank you guys for always supporting what we do. I know that your role and what your responsibility is to the animals in the community is different than our role, but it's very much intertwined. And I think we have a pretty good relationship with the dog warden. I know that sometimes they can be a little bit difficult to work with, but we try to provide them with as much support as we can to make it as easy for everybody, including you guys, to kind of make it so that the community as a whole is happy. So thank you for that. I went and spoke to probably 6 other counties who want to know how we work with the county so well, because I think there's maybe one other county in Ohio that has the type of relationship that we have that actually works. Again, we do butt heads, we have different roles in what we do, but we try to make sure that, and my interim goal is to do what's right for the animals in the community. So I wanted to say that you guys have partnered, I don't know how many years, I've been here 10 years and you've been supporting in part what we do for at least the last 10 years, and I believe it was before that. So in 2024 alone, we took in 1,224 dogs from Ross County. I think the dog warden brought us in about 500 of those dogs, so between half and a third is typically what we get. We try to work really closely with them to help them to not bring dogs to the shelter. It benefits us in that it costs us less money if we're able to help them keep a dog where it belongs or get it back to where it goes while they're on the road. They message us and tell us they were coming in with dogs or whatever is happening so that we can work with them to make sure that they are as efficient as they could/should be. So the majority of the dog wardens have also brought us goats, chickens. They try to bring a llama one day, pigs. They brought in all kinds of random things that we've taken care of. I think I've only come in front of you guys maybe once or twice to talk about what we do. And the majority of this is just to talk to you about the shelter's building progress since you guys have invested in it. So I think the last time I was here, I don't know if any of you were here, but I talked about the cost or the impact that what your investment in us alleviates from the county. So our organization spends about between $600,000 and $700,000 every year operating that staffing, veterinary care, things that we think should happen to the animals, which maybe wouldn't if it were left up to the dog board in the county, just financially. So the new building, as you guys know, it's underway. There are walls up. If you haven't been out, I think you guys were both at the groundbreaking, were you not? We had to stop construction because of the winter, obviously, but they are back out moving dirt. The estimated completion date is September of this year. I think it's probably going to be closer to October or November, but they're shooting for September. Highland County just built a new shelter. They're 2 separate entities. They're a Humane Society and a dog warden. They spent about $2 million, and the building looks exactly like the building that we're trying to tear down right now. So I'm very happy for them and very proud of them, but I don't think that they took longevity into what a good investment would have been, because we're in the place that they're going to be in probably 10 or 15 years that the building is rusting and falling down. So we're looking for the most efficient way, because I don't enjoy coming, ask you guys for money for things. It's not something I like to do. We try to be pretty self-sustaining. Things that we do for the dog warden in the county that maybe you don't know, or maybe, again, it's outside of your scope. We bought the dogs live traps. I don't know if you know how much those cost, but they're very expensive. We want them to have the tools that they need to do their job, because in the end, we're working together. A lot of times they'll call us and ask us to go out on calls with them, because there's huge scale removals, 30, 60, 70 dogs. One night we were out on Western Avenue at 11 o'clock removing dogs from conditions you never want to see, and there were 30-some dogs there. The sheriff was there, the police department was there. So it's just things like that we're doing to help them. Again, we don't expect anything in return for it, but I feel like it's really important for the community. A lot of times the community doesn't distinguish the difference between the Humane Society and the dog warden. They don't know that we're 2 different things. And for the most part, people are very pleased with what we do. And I think that it kind of, and you guys might disagree with this, it sometimes can provide a buffer for you guys and the dog warden, because they don't understand when something good happens that with the dog warden that it's us, or something bad happens with the dog warden it's us. We're kind of shielding them in a way. And I know there's always going to be problems with people, but I don't think received a ton of problems in general over the 10 years I've been there, so. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I wanted to say. Oh, spay neuter services to the public. I know that's not a requirement of yours, but we have tried so hard for the last 10 years to spay and neuter ourselves out of a problem. The number of strays that we are getting in is astronomical. The homelessness problem in Ross County has really hit us, and people are losing their homes, and we're getting every day the dog warden. This person has 8 dogs, this person has 7 dogs. What can we do to help them? So aside from just housing the dogs and feeding them and caring for them, we are doing other things that benefits all of us as a whole, because when I think about what we do, I consider the county and the dog wardens our partners and not people that either work for us or we're just in the same building together. We are like a little dysfunctional family for the county. So I hope that you're pleased with what we do. The building is going up. I encourage you guys to stop out and see the progress. I'm really terrible at taking pictures. I don't like the mud. I don't like the cold, so I haven't really been out a lot. D.E. Huddleston is doing the project.
I'll wait till it warms up.
What is it?
I'll wait till it warms up a little bit.
Yeah, it's as long as you go when it's cold, then you don't get the mud. But if it's warm, it's very muddy and dirty out there. It's about a 7,500 square foot building compared to our 4,000 that we have now, which if you've been inside of it, it smells bad, it's falling down, it served its purpose, and it's done. So I'm gonna leave some of the information that I just told you in this little packet of paper. I brought with me, or I was invited to come by Mike Howler and Larry Gates, both of which are donors, very large donors and supporters of the cause that we're trying to get this shelter. So I don't know if they have anything further they want to say. I was really just here for an update to let you guys know, like, we're putting the best use that we can to your money, and we're trying to have a good relationship with the dog warden and make it good for everybody.
Larry and I are here basically as representatives of a group it's an informal capital campaign, and we appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and the prior support. I know that the commissioners have already contributed to construction of the building. Since the original discussions that were held with the commissioners, there was quite a passage of time with estimates. The estimates that were given for the cost of the building were basically for a spec building, not actual details, so those numbers have changed. And I think it's an opportunity to, especially as the county, as you so eloquently said on the radio this morning, is planning for the economic future, the next 20 years. The commissioners with your survey and what, we'd like to talk to you about the opportunity of participating a little further in the building with additional contributions farther down the road. The construction costs are going to finish out around $2.9 million. As Jen told you, the facility building being built elsewhere is around $2 million to replace a building just like they have. This is $3 million to be state-of-the-art. It'll be the most state-of-the-art facility in southern Ohio, and for the first couple of years probably anywhere in Ohio, with an on-site hospital, with service areas that are upgraded, background music for the dogs that keeps them calm, and things like all of those kinds of things that make it state-of-the-art. But the original number was closer to $2.3 million. With the passage of time, whether it be inflation, as well as we ran into several issues with the EPA because of the amount of waste generated at the facility. There were costs incurred to do that. So
A lot of costs. Yeah, a lot of costs.
So we're at 2.9 now. It's going to take another close to $125,000 to furnish the facility, and we are in the infancy of an additional campaign to raise that money. But we'd like the commissioners, as you step back, and once again I commend you, I understand this hasn't been done for 40 years, to step back and take a look at the future. The next 20 years, I guess, is what the plan hopes to look at. We'd like to be a part of that plan. I know simply because you're going to the community and asking opinions, it's obvious that you value the community's insights. And I want you to know I've been involved in numerous fundraisers, from small ones all the way up to building the Packard Center. Never have I seen the amount of participation from our community that I've seen with this campaign. In excess of 500 donors, correct? And it just keeps going. And folks that have contributed once want to contribute again because they see the power of what goes on. In excess of 80% of Ross County residents have some form of pet. We're not saying they're all pound puppies, but so 80% of our community cares about the animals. I think it says a lot for our community. You can tell a lot by how a community cares for its animals, and a lot about those who support that. So Larry will talk a little bit more about what type of investment we're talking, but we're here to ask for additional investment in the facility going forward as we try to finish this campaign. Hopefully with a grand opening sometime this fall. We're at the construction cost of $2.9 million. We're roughly $400,000 shy of that goal. We raised the original $2.3 million we thought we had to have, and an additional costs have for the reasons I explained, have taken it to 2.9. We do have it on authority from the contractors that will be the final number. I've worked with that particular contractor in the past, and when they tell you that's a final number, the 3 projects I've used them on, that in fact was the final number. And as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Lowe, if you'd like to write a check for the rest of the campaign, we'll name the hospital after you.
That's your money, not the
So I turn it over to Larry Gates, who's been very instrumental in the capital campaign.
Larry's the only reason we're here, in all honesty. Larry started all of this. Without him, we would not even be sitting here.
First of all, Mr. Lowe, I would not have known you. I bumped into you out on the street. Congratulations, it's very becoming.
Can you see the gray?
Yeah. You were clean shaven the last time you pulled your.
As has been said, about 75% of the county has a pet of some kind. So anything any rumor, anything that's in the paper is intensely watched because people really do care about their animals. What's interesting to me is that the majority of the people in the county thinks that the facility reports directly to the commissioners. So any good rumor out there, you get it. Any bad rumor, you get it also. And on the plus side, the commissioners get credit for a very comprehensive and caring staff. I've been out there numerous times. I look forward to going out there just to get in there, and there was always 3 or 4 dogs in the office, and they're always glad to see you, and it's heartwarming to go and visit the place. On the other hand, the people that go and visit there to adopt a dog or whatever, the staff, the volunteers, the people going to adopt a dog have to go into a place that's, I call, deplorable. It's unsafe, and it's just not a healthy environment. And I do encourage you to go take a look at that. As was said, there's such widespread support for this. Probably there's any number of people who have given $10, $20 just because they want to participate and do something. At the end of the day, we are going to have the most modern facility for any county in the state of Ohio, and maybe in the state of in the whole nation. What is planned is engineered strictly for dogs, for music that is calming to them that we can't hear. There will be light in every, natural light is calming to animals. There will be no place that there won't be natural light for the dogs to keep them calm.
It's also a more professional environment for the dog wardens to conduct their business.
Yeah, because if I was the building inspector, you guys would be shut down one time.
I mean, I'm very well aware of that.
I mean,
I've been talking about this building since 2014 when I started, but we were not in a position to do anything. Don't call the building inspectors.
The thing that we are asking you to consider today, the commitment from the county is $300,000 over 5 years, or $60,000 a year. To date, the county has paid 3 of those, or $180,000. What we're asking today is for you to extend that another 3 years at $60,000 a year, and in the hopes that by extending it, it causes you no immediate crisis for your budget and so forth. And in consideration for that, your current obligation represents just a little over 10% of the final cost of the building only, not the internal, which, as Mike has said, we intend to raise that money in a different format. So we do have plans for that.
And we promise not to come back for any of that.
And this additional request that we're asking today would have the county representing about 16% of the total cost of this building. Now, as part of the county is concerned, we have individuals and organizations who have committed what your obligation is at the moment, who have given $300,000, and I hope I'm not wrong in disclosing this, but Petland has obligated themselves for $300,000. Ron Fuster, of course, at McDonald's, he is a great dog lover, and he's approaching that and is committed to giving more. We do have individuals in the community, one individual who's given 21% of the total costs by one individual. So at the end of the day, as I say, we're going to have something that we really do need. And I would encourage you all three to get there and take a look at that. But at the same time, I would also really encourage you to let us have a photo shoot of the three commissioners at the new facility being constructed. Your support of this to the public and would be incredible. Any comments you might make about the future of this facility and what it's going to do would also be appreciated. So again, our request is to ask you to extend for 3 more years at $60,000, which, as I said earlier, would put you at a roughly 16% of the total cost of the building only. So again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your consideration. It's always been kind of a tough slog to ask people for money. We got hit by the COVID when we couldn't go and talk to people. Many of us got put in the bedside, but by COVID and other things, and some of the commissioners were kind enough to visit me when I was experiencing that. So again, thank you for your consideration. We believe in this with all of our hearts.
The Humane Society has also put in their own funds from this, probably between $400,000 and $600,000 worth of donations that were not specifically for this campaign that we have allotted toward the campaign. So we're not just relying on everybody else to do this for us. We're actually putting our own money into the project as well. So I meant to say that earlier. I'm sorry, Larry.
That's okay. End of my comments. Mike, anything further?
No, I think to wrap it up, as you look at the economic vision of the county, with your survey and audience participation, those kinds of things, we would hope that you would include this additional pledge for 3 years in that planning process.
I'd just like to say thank you so much for what you do. It's very important in the county, and being an animal lover, I've always had a dog in my house, except for recently when we have to euthanize the last 2 dogs that we had. And now I'm the only animal my wife will let in the house, so.
And that's probably pushing it.
I think we have a pretty good relationship with the county, and I think I've maybe said this to some of you, like, if there's something that needs addressed, or something that we can help you do, or the dog warden do better, please let us know. Like, we're open to learning new things, we're into, you know, doing continuing education, trying to further better the relationship that we have with the dog wardens, who I know can sometimes be a little cantankerous. But if there's something that we can do to further that or make it better or easier for you guys, we want one of you to reach out to us and say, hey, this is going on, is there something we can do to help? We want to work together with you guys. I don't want to come and see you, and it's not that I don't like you, but again, we try to be pretty self-sustaining, but we need your help to do what we do, because we don't have the authority that the county does. So.
Well, just with Juanita complains about a lot.
Well,
but
that's not for today's meeting, but Juanita is very old school, and she's not open to learning a lot of new things or doing things in a different manner.
Well, before you go too far here.
That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I was saying.
The 3 years that I've been here, I don't think I've heard one time it was about you guys.
Juanita and I have butted heads over numerous things. Again, I am the type of person that I can step back and see when I'm not doing something right, or when what I'm doing is more harmful than it is good, and I want my staff and myself to continue to learn and be better, and I just think that sometimes that isn't everybody's philosophy on what they do in their jobs. So.
Well, I remember the situation at the animal shelter when I ran for mayor.
Okay.
And that was about the same time you came on board.
Probably. It was bad.
You swallowed a whale in one bite.
I had no idea what I was getting. I didn't and I've said this before publicly. I started there. They told me we're going to be out of money, and I can't hardly talk about it without crying. In 2 years, I'm like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And here we are, 10 years later, trying to build a building. And I have worked really hard to make us sustainable. I've worked really hard to build the relationships, because what we do and what you guys do is not sustained within the county alone. We have to ask for outside help, or the community will hate us, because we would have to euthanize 75% of the dogs that are coming in, because we would have nowhere for them to go. So it's definitely been, and again, I think I've come in here once when I first started to ask you to give us more money, and maybe I came when we asked for the money for the building the first time, but we largely try to leave the county alone.
Well, I remember coming to your board meeting. I don't remember you coming in the last 3 years anyway.
It hasn't. It's been a lot. It's when I first started.
If I could add one other thing, we talk about the current facility. The current facility is essentially a pole barn, and they're not built long-term.
Not with what we do, not with being a wet facility.
I was out there at Christmas time.
It's not great. It's smelly. And we have people that come. We had somebody that drove from Indiana on Saturday to adopt a dog. So we have people coming from other communities. And as proud as I am of what we do, I'm embarrassed when people come into the building, because it's not good.
Well, the foundation's just
all of it's bad. We had a ceiling tile that fell on top of an employee one day. It's just not good, and it's not good for the dog wardens either. They're in an office that's an 8x8 space, and there's so much crammed into there, they can't even have a professional conversation with somebody when they come in, because there's nowhere for them to have it. So.
The beauty of the new building is that it's concrete construction, concrete wall, block wall construction. And in 25 years, we won't be tearing down the building to try to replace it. We'll be talking about what we need to do to bring it up to date, and that's a whole different dollar amount and a whole different plan.
That'll be a different group of people probably.
And if we were commercial industry or entity, we'd probably be trying to finance it over 15 years. Don't have that option. So spreading out your piece of it helps you and helps us. And we won't be asking about a new building in 50 or even 75 years. We'll just be talking about
how great we did in 2025.
Yeah.
Kathy, do you know if we did a resolution on that?
To give them the funds?
Yes.
I don't know.
I feel like you did.
I have a couple thoughts and questions.
Sure.
First question, do we have, and this may be for you guys, maybe for us, do we have a contractual agreement between the
Yes.
county and,
We do.
and you guys?
We
Okay,
do.
Good. Because first of all, I applaud what you guys are doing. I had a dog who we got from the Humane Society. She was a great dog for our family, and I think that there's lots of folks from around the county to have that experience. And as you said, 80% of the folks here in Ross County have a dog or a pet, and so I mean, I really applaud what you all are doing, and I think the other side of it, you know, when it comes to supporting organizations and things, what I look for is that complementary aspect. We have to have a dog warden. It's an obligation that we have to maintain. So I like that there's that existing partnership. It enhances what we're able to do. The services from, you know, for spay and neuter partnership is really valuable. I think there's a lot of folks who maybe want to get their dog fixed, but that's a pretty steep price tag.
Medical
for
care
folks.
too, through the dog warden. A lot of, like, the dog wardens will call us and say, hey, we have a dog that's been hit by a car, and we know from talking to Juanita, like, that's just not something really that would be in their budget, and we will immediately get the dog and get it to where it needs to go without question of what it's going to cost someone, because at the end of the day, I don't have to ask largely about spending money to take care of a dog that otherwise would maybe not get the care, and then again, the dog suffers, the community suffers, and then you get to deal with whatever backlash comes from that.
Yeah, and I think you both make a good point in saying that the Humane Society and the dog warden, a lot of folks don't recognize the differences in those two. But I think that's a good thing, because it's an opportunity for us as we approach animal control and those things to partner with an organization like what you all are doing over there. And so I think we probably have more to talk about, but I definitely appreciate you coming in, and I think we'll all probably take you up on that offer, Mr. Gates, to come out and see the
Prepare to be
progress.
underwhelmed.
And well,
I mean,
I think
overwhelmed by
it's-
the progress, underwhelmed by the current building.
Well, I've been in there, and I think
It's
a
not
lot
great.
of folks have, and it's
Yeah.
not good. So I think that it's due for what you all are doing, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity for this to continue. And as you said, Mr. Howard, we'll build something that lasts and we can be proud of as a community. And I think the commitment that the county has made up to this point is something that's very aligned with what is important for moving that forward. But we got inflation, so, you know, it's good that you're here and
I'm gonna
talking to
leave
us.
these with you, it's just some of the talking points
Yeah.
that I had, there's no special stuff in it, but if you need it to reference. If you guys have any other questions about the project, or if I can help you with anything else, please.
I'll give you my 1/3. If it was left up to me, I would do it right now.
I know, and I understand, you guys
And I
have
don't
a
have a
lot of
problem.
priorities, and I know from doing what I do that animal care is at the bottom of the totem pole.
It's $60,000 that we spend a year for good, for not for just a
It would
good
cost
cause,
you
a
more
great
than
cause.
that to build a building and run it. If, this is the last thing I'm gonna say, and then we can all go. If you had to build your own building, you already have dog wardens that are running almost all day, every day. That's not even caring for the animals. So if, for instance, I said, okay, we're done with the county, we're gonna break our contract, you do your own thing, you're gonna have to hire 6 more people to run a shelter, because your dog wardens are already doing what they can do at their max capacity, so it
Where we
benefits
gonna put our
both.
shelter at?
You know, I think.
And where can you get a shelter? Where
You
can
don't
we
have a
pay
building
$60,000?
currently.
Where we can spend $60,000 a year?
I know. Yeah, and it's,
The house,
again, we're thankful, we're glad for the partnership. I appreciate the partnership more than, again, many counties can't do what we do. They've tried and failed miserably because they just can't get along. They can't agree on things, and I think what we do just works. I don't know why. I've been to Scioto County, I've been to Jackson County, I've been to Athens County, I've been to numerous counties talking to their governments about what we do, because they want to do the same thing, but they just aren't able to do it, so. I'm very proud of our partnership with the county.
I think adoptions have a whole lot better chance if they got a nice clean place to go.
Yeah,
and
it leaves a-
dogs are being taken care of,
Yeah.
and it shows.
Or sometimes people are like, I'm saving this dog for the shelter because it's so bad.
Yeah. You know, I think 2 things we have to work on together is the influx of dogs from the homeless shelters.
It's so
And
many.
then also the dumping grounds that Pike County likes to use Ross County for. We get reports every month from Juanita that.
Listen,
the
it's
dogs are
every,
getting
I can
dumped
tell you why if you would like to know. Because, and this is the brutally honest truth, we are euthanizing about 1/3 of the dogs that come in right now, and that's, I have zero shame in saying that. we're not turning dogs away. Counties, Pike County, Franklin County, who has a $10 million building, is closed intake. So if somebody finds a stray, Franklin County is telling them, you have to keep it. They're putting it, Montgomery County are notorious. They'll turn their strays away. You know who they call? Every county until they get to ours, because they're like, we know Ross County will take these dogs, which we don't take dogs from out of county 99% of the time. But those counties are turning dogs away and they're dumping them in Ross County because they know that we're not going to turn away a stray. And we're probably one of the few counties in southern Ohio and maybe all of Ohio at this point that's not turning away dogs. And it really has affected us. And I've spoke to Pike County myself, I've spoke to Fayette County, I've spoke to Jackson County. Stop turning your dogs away because we're eating. I'm going to start billing you for the care that we're providing because you won't take your stray dogs. It's your legal obligation to take those. It's not my legal obligation to take them, but we, again, that is why, and Juanita is very correct in saying that, you know, I think that that's something too that Ross County should be proud of on both parts, that we're not turning dogs away to be in the street, and there are a lot of counties in Ohio right now.
We gotta get the strays off the street.
Well, they're not. They're putting it on their citizens to deal with.
Do you have any second thoughts on this, or are you ready to take action? Because I think Goody and I are.
You guys are ready. I didn't know we were anticipating any.
I'll make the
motion
motion that we extend the contract with the Humane Society for an additional 3 years at $60,000 a year. That's what you guys are looking for, not correct?
For the building construction.
For the building construction, yes.
The other contract is fine as it is. We don't need to talk about that. It's great.
We'll just extend the contract that we have now.
Perfect. That gives you guys time to budget if you so choose to do.
Yeah, sure. Second?
Second, sure.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you guys probably more than you know, so. If there's
Well, we
any-
appreciate you.
If there's anything I can do, seriously, and I keep looking at Brad because I know he deals with it, if there's something we can do to help with anything that's happening at the dog warden office, we're more than happy to do so. We just like to tread lightly because I don't want to create enemies.
We'll get back with you.
I know. I'm gonna leave these for you so you can have them. I appreciate you guys very much. There's no press here. We probably will make a press release at some.
Press here.
He's right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We waited till 9:30.
You waited till 9:30, he
I
was late.
apologize, sir.
He was late,
Never
he was
mind.
late.
He's got what he needs then.
Yeah, he's late.
Okay.
No, he's going, I can tell you right now, as soon as you walk out the door, he's gonna be right behind you.
I know. I'm not a good public speaker or an interviewer because I say too much, so, all right.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brad. See you, Michael. Okay.
Hope you have a
See
nice
y'all.
day.
See you later, sir.
As far as the
You
dog
too.
and the Humane Society is
Can
concerned.
we approach the bench and take care of it?
I know that you will. I'm very well aware.
Thank you very much. Doing good. Sounded good this
I
morning.
hate shaking hands.
Jack, thank you so much.
Sorry I didn't wear a suit, but I have to go to work and that's not
We're
conducive.
out bed, Jack.
I already know.
Thank you for your support. I
See
appreciate
you
it.
later.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Sir?
Hey.
How we doing? Good?
I'm Dave.
I do. Where we met.
I did.
Rotary
Dwight was here,
Rotary.
Dwight decided he was gonna grow one.
I think that's
So I
what
waited
probably
about a week
supposed to
after
do.
Dwight did, and Dwight laughed.
Did I cry?
And he cut along, he cut like his arm. I'm like, keep my
I will go down in history as the lady that cried.
Larry, I
It's
wanna
going to be on my
introduce you to
tombstone.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is David. Thank you.
It's really good. I only cried a little bit
Don't
today.
take one of them.
Yes,
He's a recent retiree from.
Yes, sir, Dave.
I own advanced services.
Oh, okay.
And I sold that business.
Oh.
So they make 3 more, Brad, because I'm gonna sign one and give it to
Neither
Kathy.
key went first.
Oh, yeah.
No.
If you can do it, you can do it.
Well, that's-
Thanks again. I sure appreciate
See you
it.
later.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
All right, we got 5 after 10. Almost. Brett? Morning. Sorry about that.
How are you guys today?
Good.
You'll be pleased to know I'm not here to complain and I'm not here to ask for money.
All right. Have a seat, make yourself comfortable.
Amen. I like to come in, well, I guess most of you know me, Brady Gratzleff, President Camp Cattail. I like to come in at least one time a year, just kind of share what's going on out there, kind of our events like I shared with you, our kids camp, our adult camps, our yearly fundraiser we have the week after the fair. just kind of, don't expect you to come, but if you want to, you at least kind of have an idea of what's upcoming. I mean, the kids camp or the adults camp, if you've never been, is worth an hour or two for you to come out, because the kids with disabilities that come out to camp, they get to fish, get to ride horses and do things that they don't normally get to. It'll bring joy to you if you can come out to one of those camps and just pop in. But those dates and times, that's what I wanted to drop those off. Your top sheet is our contact information. I always try to share this with Kathy or Brad. If we have board members come and go all the time, but the president unfortunately has stayed the same for over a decade. But I say unfortunately, I'm just teasing. But so the last time I was here last year, as you know, or at least you and Jack would know, we were trying to find a caretaker, and we have since then. We had that house put out there. It's on a mobile.
I don't know if he's a caretaker or not.
Oh, Slate Kellis. But so that's helped tremendously, because we were having, some thefts and stuff like that. But now having somebody back there, and he works full time as well, but just presence back there has helped us tremendously on some of the thefts. So he has moved in, and that's been great. Project-wise, we don't have anything slated this year. We were fortunate, just got a pretty good donation from the Eagles here in town. So our March meeting will be kind of projecting like what big projects. Some of the projects we've done in the past, as you know, have been through grants. We remodeled the bathrooms, we redid the pond dock. Those are things that anytime we do any big projects, we'll keep you informed, and I'll definitely come in and give you updates of construction or anything like that. But that's the bulk of why I wanted to come today, just kind of tell you what we're doing, what's going on, and unless you have any questions, that's.
You gonna get rid of that caboose, or you gonna fix it?
So the caboose, as you know, I mean, our two big fundraisers every year is our benefit, which is always the Saturday after the fair, and then the Chillicothe Enduro Riders hold the bike race, which is probably now grown to be our biggest fundraiser. They have asked this year, before giving us our portion of what they made from the races, if they could use some of that money to refurbish the caboose. So yes, that is in the plan. As far as the history, I still don't know the history of how it got out there, how long it's been out there, but it's something over the years we've painted, but as wood sits outside, it deteriorates. But that is something the Chillicothe Enduro Riders have asked to fund themselves, so it wouldn't be any of our funds. So that is in the plan for this year, yes. When that's going to happen, completion, I have no clue. And I think some of it's going to be putting metal over it, because again, with wood, all that wood is just rotten sitting outside. So, but that's pretty much all that I had. Like I said, I'm not here to ask for money or complain or anything. So life's good at Camp Cattail.
Well, we appreciate what you do for the disabled folks in the community, and that's a big help, giving them a little entertainment and activities, and we so appreciate that.
And as you guys know, I mean, it is county owned, but Camp Cattail does have a board, and our requirements are to maintain the grounds and provide and offer activities for individuals with disabilities, not just kids, it can be adults as well. So we have our yearly camps for our kids, for our adults, and a lot of our kids are from the Pioneer Center. The Pioneer Center also has a camp the same week that we do, because not all kids can, depending on the weather, not all can be outside if it's 95 or 100 degrees. So it's a good mix. A lot of the kids that we serve at camp are affiliated with the program already through the Pioneer Center. So, unless you have...
How many campsites out there?
There's 25 hookups.
Okay. And that's just for electric and water?
Electric and water, yes, yep. Okay. And we are booked...
I was just saying, you guys are booked all the time?
Every weekend, starting as early as 1st of May all the way through Halloween. So people call all the time wanting to get a spot, and usually those are filled January, February.
How much do you usually charge on that?
It's $25 a night, so...
That's cheaper than going to the state park.
It is, and what we do for booking wise, if you're a group, because we get a lot of groups, If you have more than 4, we're not like a state park, we won't bring in 5 different groups. That kind of helps us. At the same time, you may have a group that wants to come in and consume some beverages, and you may have a group that wants to have a church function. Both are fine, but we're not like a state park to where we don't have any issues like that. Most people are booking more than 4 or 5, they're bringing, most cases, 5 to 10. Most people don't camp by themselves, but some do. But it's been, like I said, if you're wanting to camp at Camp Cattail on a weekend, I'd call now for next year.
Yeah, because you're not going
So, which is a good thing. It's good when you're booked every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So. But that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You gotta do a good job out there.
Like I said, if you can make it to one of those camps, it'll bring you some joy, even if it's just for an hour. But those are 9 to 11:30, and they're during the week, so. But there's usually anywhere, kid-wise, 20 to 30 kids, and then adults, 50 to 60. Because First Capital, a lot of the adults will be
Coming in.
together, so. But, all right.
Thank you,
for your
sir.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Brady.
Have a good one.
All right, asset disposal form, looks like they cleaned out all the corners over at probate and juvenile courts. We got miscellaneous monitors and printers, looks like 5 monitors, 1 printer, 3 switches, and a box of old keyboards, security cameras, monitors, stands, and old office supplies.
Second.
I have a compensation agreement between Pickaway Ross and Kenworth Truck Company for the payments in lieu of taxes on a, I believe, $60,000 improvement to Kenworth. We need to approve that.
I think they're coming in here later today. Right?
No,
They're not.
that's tax incentive review is a different thing. This is the new.
Oh, this is the, yeah.
Pickaway Road.
Yeah,
This-
yeah. They've already approved
Is
everything. We're the-
Kenworth already signed off on it?
Yeah,
Kenworth Z-Trace.
Zane Trace will have their own form.
Yeah, Zane Trace will have it. As long as Kenworth signed off on it and the school signed off on it, so that
Has the school is.
Signed for it.
off.
And Kenworth.
Yeah.
It came in without Kenwood's signature, and I said no.
That's a
Favor
60,
say
that's
aye.
a 60%.
Aye.
Aye. That's a 60%. The enterprise zone is what I read, I think.
Lights at the courthouse, we got 2 requests. One's specifies green light all month. The other one is 1 day with no color indicated. I was confused by that.
I assume it was blue.
If you look at the pictures, it looks like it's blue and amazing blue.
Is there policy or process on what is lit, what is not? Obviously, we wouldn't be coming to us if we didn't have the deciding factor, but is there a written policy about that? And
I don't know about being written. I don't know if it's been a written policy or not.
About what?
Lights.
lighting up the court?
Lighting up the courthouse.
No, we've never had one.
There's no, because we have to do.
Kinda like the use
If
of the
somebody makes a
courthouse.
request,
Either gotta do it for nobody or everybody.
yeah, we gotta do it for nobody or everybody. And that's the same thing with the, using the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lydia Coleman made the request for the single day. I don't know if I'm going off your pictures. I mean, you have
I
that.
don't know what she's, The one for the whole month.
Yeah, one's mental health, and that's green for the entire month of May. This is for May,
If you look that one up, that's the Autism Day, is that what that one is?
Down Syndrome Day.
Down
Yeah,
syndrome. Yeah, if you look that up, online, it is blue and yellow.
Yeah, that's, Down Syndrome Day is March 21st. So this is the month of May, it's not the same thing. This is the month of May for mental health, green, and March 21st, blue for World Down Syndrome Day.
Yes.
Blue, I'm assuming. I know what the pictures look like, they're not real good pictures.
So, can we do a blue and yellow?
No,
You know what'll happen if you do? You'll be supporting Ukraine.
Here's the thing, and this is why I think,
But the Down syndrome is blue and yellow,
It
it's
is.
not saying what it is.
but it's blue and yellow.
Boy, that could be complicated.
Why?
Well, mismeaning.
yeah.
We could justify why we did blue and yellow.
Not when it doesn't specify the colors. That's my point, it doesn't specify the
I think I
colors.
sent something back to her, I'm looking here, let me see if I can find it. Because I asked her.
Because I thought the colors were blue and yellow too, but or gold and,
Yeah, because when I saw the pictures. I
Yeah, you're right, blue and yellow.
I should say blue and yellow.
Here's the thing, anybody want my opinion on the courthouse light up? I'll just go ahead and tell you. I think that when you light up the courthouse, first of all, it has to be very clear what we're raising awareness for, right? And so lighting something up for green is pretty cool, I'm not against that, but to take an entire month of lighting the courthouse, and then, you know, green could mean anything. You know, people could look at it and think, dang, they're a month behind on St. Patrick's Day. The other thing I think that is important about the courthouse is that when we are lighting up a public building for some cause, it should be very clear and very well shared by the folks of this community. So Christmas, national holiday, we light it up in December. Red and green, no one's asking what the heck we're lighting it up for. 4th of July, beautiful holiday, American holiday. But I'm not a fan of some of the things that we do around lighting the courthouse up. I'm not a fan of lighting the courthouse up the entire month of June for Pride Month. I just don't think that's representative of the entire community. Obviously, I think one day raising awareness about Down syndrome is different than lighting the courthouse up for a whole month. But I think we've gotten to a point where anybody can ask to light the courthouse up any color, and we, I think, need to be a little bit more.
If you do it for one, you gotta do it for all.
Well, or then you just say.
Joe's gonna come back and bite us in the butt.
Then you just say, we only light them up for, I'm open to whatever, but I just think that we need to have a better conversation about how that's decided and what the process is for deciding it.
Yeah, we have two issues. We have national holidays and we have First Amendment.
Yeah, but what First Amendment doesn't give you the right to light up the courthouse, whatever color you want.
Jeff?
It's a request for to make a statement. It'll be woven into that, I guarantee you.
That's fine. Anybody can do whatever they want, but this is a public building, and we're elected to share things that are supportive. I would just really wonder how someone could make it a right that not to color the courthouse a particular color would be an infringement on their First Amendment rights. The White House has said we're not flying any other flags but the American flag. That's not an infringement on anyone else's First Amendment right.
What if you
We
put like an
somehow are
hour
talking
on
about
it, like
courthouse.
24 hours on,
Lighting up the courthouse?
24 or 14 hours?
Did somebody make a
not
request
the whole
that's
month?
controversial or something?
No.
No, not yet, but I'm just sharing my thoughts in general about it, because it's,
Well,
because I want some
But we
consistency.
can justify
If
why
you have a
it's
policy
missing.
in place, that's different, and that's probably what you need. You know, you're not gonna do it for a whole month, you'll do it for a week, you'll do it for 3 days, you'll do it. You could also say, if you're gonna ask to have that done, then you've gotta provide a banner that can be hung on the wire in front of the courthouse like we do for other things. You know, when we have, Day of Prayer, I think they put one up for that. You know, you can say you have to provide a banner so big with so many grommets in it. There's all kinds of stuff you can do if you make a policy. And then you don't have to worry about the amendment stuff, you know, because it is what it is.
You know, somebody will argue it,
But if
Yeah,
we,
well,
if we
remember
make,
that.
if we make a
Everybody's
policy and the
different,
policy
right?
says, this is what we do it for, I think down the road, we're gonna be in trouble down the
we're
road.
gonna raffle that off here. 60,000.
What 2 people are you gonna find to wear?
I get it.
See you, Mike.
See, Mike,
Yeah, that probably is a conversation for another time here.
my thing is, I don't have a problem with it, I have a problem with it for the whole month. But I don't have a problem with
A day.
a day or a
Yeah.
week or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I have no issue with specific requests like this, it's just, my curiosity is around what's the process, and how do we decide what's appropriate to,
You got it. I don't think you can turn anybody down. If you do, I'm kidding.
I will.
Well, we need
But
to
if you
find out.
but if you turn somebody down, and they say, well, you put Easter collars up, but you're not gonna put up military collars.
How about this? I got my CCAO Board of Directors meeting next week. How about if I ask a question there?
That's great, and I think we just need to be more thoughtful about how we do it, that's all I'm saying.
Well, let's get an example. Let's see what other guys.
I think that we're reading too much into this myself.
I think Brad's right. If you have a policy, and then you just apply the policy to whoever asks, that's a fair way to.
We have an unwritten policy now that we let anybody who makes a request to put a collar, put something, that it's known around the world, or around the United States, that this week is such and such, this day is such and such, we know that.
Yeah.
And that's the only people that's really putting anything up.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's
you know,
not- it's not-
with the new communications lady, you know, you can have that on your website, you can have that on whatever,
Social media.
work
Yeah.
she's doing there, the
Yeah.
website, Facebook page, whatever. I know when I was the Parks Director, you know, we had a lot of people requesting things, and I'm sure, Jack, you heard this too, you know, wanting to do things in the park, and pretty much can't say no to anybody. If you let them do it, you gotta let everybody do it.
I think letting them people utilize the courthouse for protest of any kind is much different than lighting the thing up.
Well, we've never let them use the courthouse for a protest,
Yeah.
because that's left up to the city, because the city owns the sidewalk. We stopped them from going under the steps before. He said, if you make a request that they want to protest from the park up to Main Street to in front of the courthouse, that's left up to the city, because that's all city property.
We did the same thing. They wanted to protest over the prosecutor's office here recently.
Yeah.
And that's city sidewalk.
Yeah, city sidewalk.
That lady did specify that the colors are blue and yellow.
Blue and
That's what
yellow.
I thought they were in yellow.
Lydia, I think was her name.
Yeah,
right?
Lydia
Coleman.
Coleman, probably one of your roads. No?
I'll make that motion.
Or what's the motion?
The March 21st.
Yeah.
Oh, for DD awareness? Yeah, I will second that, but I want to have a deeper conversation about how we do that in the future.
And so we want to just let that one go forward, since it's asking for a month, let's wait for the conversation.
Yes.
And I got my CCAO board meeting's on the 21st of this month, so I'll find out after that. We'll talk about that on our next meeting or something.
Did you say that was March 21st?
March 21st.
So I've had experience with this when I was in the Visitors Bureau in Pickaway County, because they had a community message board. That's they had an unwritten policy for years and there was no problem, there was no controversy. But then things suddenly in the world started getting more controversial and people started using that public facility to make political statements. And that's where anyone as an individual or a group should be able to share their opinion on something. That's a First Amendment right. But for it to be used, but to use public tax dollars and public assets like a courthouse to share that message, even if there's conflicting messages going on in the same year or month, that's where it gets sensitive. And so we had to do a whole policy around how that communities, you know, it's if you were there in Pickaway County, that Circleville, they've got that board that just says it'll have a message. It was a challenge to negotiate that when you had one group at the same time saying something about Black Lives Matter, and then the next one was something anti. It's like, where do you draw the line of this community publicly owned thing becomes used for controversial political statements? So not saying that that's what's happening here. We need to be protective of that, I think.
Let's have a conversation about that, and then I'll find out what other counties are doing.
I like it.
Did I miss Camp Cattail, or
Do what?
did I miss Camp
You
Cattail?
did.
Oh, yeah, you missed it.
Yeah, we're all worn out now, so.
Here, you wanna, here, yeah. You take a picture of this. This is the only thing it gave us.
Okay.
There was really nothing that, you want a picture of this or something. That's the only thing, there are events that's going on, and didn't ask for any money, and, which was a good thing.
You mean you're not made of money?
No.
If you want, I can make you a copy of that.
That'd be great.
I wasn't thinking about that, Brad. I was.
Thank you.
So I have a, authorization request for access to the ocean.
What'd you say?
Is it really what it says?
Access to ocean. Ocean is a, I guess it's an office of the Department of Development. It's a contact for naming me as a contact and taking Blake's name off the list. I don't even know what those are for. You know what that is? I know we're going to the ocean here for too long, but
It's for their grants so that they have a signer, because now they have to send their grants online. You'll have to sign them online.
is that what
Instead
the
of us-
program's called, Ocean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that. You ever heard of that?
I thought you was going to go sunbathing or something.
I stopped you right there.
Yeah.
Distracted you.
It's like the online receiving.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
that the state has for submitting.
Ocean Information System.
They'll no longer take,
Are you?
paper grants,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be signed.
Everything has to be signed.
So,
So,
Oh, yeah, second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sorry. Oh, you did. I think, you used it on your share document. It's attached to
Yeah, we have the J.O. Urick contract. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and was I guess Jeff sent it to us a couple weeks ago, and we had, there was some things in the contract I asked him to change. Just wrong words. Did you guys get a copy of this?
mhm.
Did you go through it?
I looked at it,
Have any problems with signing at all? No?
That's my signature there. No, it ain't, it sure doesn't look like it.
Yeah, this is, whoever's got it, you copied your signature, it's forging you on checks right now. One's for the cash basis reporting, one's for compilation and engagement. You gotta look at this, right?
Yep.
Yes. So second.
We got
Make
a
your
duel.
motion. I second it.
You guys are good, you've been practicing that? Is this blue or black ink? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Kathy, is that the audit? Is that what that is? That they're signing?
Yeah,
It's not the audit.
Is that the audit?
it's not the audit, it's the.
Jeff, is that what that is? JL, you're for the.
Yeah, it's the
audit?
county's independent audits, yeah.
Whoops, the wrong date. Sorry. Crazy because Jack put the right date right above mine.
You never pay attention to me anyway.
I don't pay attention to the dates at all. What's one different, what's the difference?
But you got the right year, that's what counts.
Yeah.
I've gone into March before writing the wrong date. Brad, what you got?
Have you seen some of those emails that I sent? The one from Austin Musser. And then, I don't know if you want to talk about that or not. I also sent you a copy of the rate analysis for the 104 sewer project. Any
$2 instead of $3, or that was a big stink raised about that, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, we still don't have, that's part of the document that's going to get them to finally give us an MOU. And along with, if you saw the cost for the repair of the siphon, that's almost like taking that mile of pipe that we wouldn't have to run from Moundsville Road all the way down to the park to tie in. That money can be used to fix that siphon, which we think gives us a much better chance of the state saying, yes, we'll do this. My one big concern still is we still haven't got any commitment from Pleasant Valley Sewer. And I'm gonna try to get a hold of Charlie Shear this week to talk to him to see what their thoughts are. And then if not, then we're gonna try some other things.
All right. Does that sound like you should bring them in here for, or?
Excuse me?
Is that something you should bring them in here for, or you
Well,
want to stand around?
we may try to meet their board meeting again. I'd like to talk to Charlie online and just, see what his thoughts are, one more time before we keep pushing. But, the next thing to say is that if they're not interested in taking that, why don't we talk to the city?
That'd be the next logical step.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know who to talk to.
Well, we've got another one in mind, but I think the city's the next one to talk to. They still wouldn't have to treat it, but they've got the folks to maintain it.
Right.
And if that's what we're gonna be talking about, maybe we talk to both of them about that. Certainly
Maybe we
like
need to talk to both of them anyway and just see what
Exactly,
kind of
yeah.
strings are attached.
So that's our goal for this month.
We need to find out. Is if the city will not own the line?
Well, that's the
Because I don't
conversation.
think they can,
I think they can.
not anymore, because they stopped doing that, even if you do a little strip and annex that little strip into the city, you can no longer do that.
I'm not sure that's right.
Well, I talked to somebody and they said, well, because like Bridge Street, they got that little strip in front of Norris that's in the city, but everything else is in the county.
There's House Bill 113 that's going to change, that's trying to change that.
Yeah.
They're trying to make the contiguous land
You can't do it.
25%, not 18%.
You can't do a strip like they did.
Well, they
The
had.
Village of Frankfurt did a strip.
There was an argument about it out by the Allen Hospital Road, and I thought that had more to do with the county water than it did with the sewer. Now, it may be true with water, I'm not sure it's true with sewer. And there's no district there. I mean, we know that there's no district there because we checked it.
Right.
If there was a district there, I would say they couldn't do it. But because there is no district, they may be able to own it. We'll find all that out soon. I mean, these are the conversations we're having now about what to do if Pleasant Valley decides that they don't want it.
Yeah. When we scheduled to flip dirt?
Excuse me?
When are we scheduled to flip dirt on that?
Probably not until June or July.
It's coming up.
It is. Everything's coming up pretty fast.
Yeah, we need to know who's going to operate that, or at least have a maintenance agreement to do the maintenance on it.
We probably need to discuss the stuff that I sent you about the airport offline at some point. The airport project is scheduled to start on April the 14th. We'll get letters out to all the folks that are in the hangars and tell them that, you know, it'll probably be down for a better part of a month.
Yeah, so Stan's concerned about traffic, or fuel traffic flow.
Yeah. Again, I don't know why we're running a fuel company out of the airport, but
Yeah, that's the same thing I'm thinking.
He also again asked about refurbishing the airport office spaces and all that, and I said we're kind of in a holding pattern right now until we figure out what we're going to do with these other properties. Austin is having surgery today on his knee, so he's going to kind of be out. No, it's on his shoulder. I'm sorry. He's out of commission for a week or so, but
So it's orthoscopic.
yeah, he's having tore some muscles in there years ago, so he's kind of out of commission. I have the airport schedule if you want it. Welcome to share that with you.
Is the airport gonna be completely shut down during while they're there?
Yeah. Can't land on a runway that's torn up.
Well, I'm just saying if
Well, you can once.
Once.
Man, Jack's bringing the jokes today.
So,
I mean,
the project is to mill it all and fix the cracks,
okay,
and then pave it, and then groove the runway and build 2 blast pads on either end. So that's a big project, and you can't have planes landing and taking off any time while that runway is affected.
well, my thing is are they gonna do the blast, while they're doing the blast pads, the runway can still be open to me?
No. Because they're on the end of both runways. You can't have that equipment working on the end of the runway and have a plane come in.
They did it in the parking lot a couple of days ago, well, a plane crash did.
Yeah, different.
Okay,
So they'll issue what are called NOTAMs, noticed airmen,
right.
and tell them that the thing's shut down.
Okay.
And we'll make sure all the people that are renting from us know that it's shut down. So if they want to get their planes out of there before the runway project starts, they can.
Unless they take off in the grass.
I'm not even sure they'll be allowed to do that. Because they're big trucks and
I'm just
stuff.
trying to make something up, to just trying to keep the airport open while this is.
So what's the time of that project, that resurfacing?
Excuse me?
What's the time span for that resurfacing?
About a month.
So it's gonna be from April to May.
Pretty close, you know, 4 weeks probably at least. By the time they mill it all off, soft cut, fix all the cracks, put the new asphalt down, build the blast pads, and then groove it all, it'll probably be every bit of a month.
Okay.
I think we need to talk to Lancaster about pilot lessons.
We can do
What
that.
they need, how soon they can get that up while we're down here for a month, and give us time to react. Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna ask for hangers, and we don't have them.
Right.
So, well, we have tie downs, I mean, we can keep planes here and have them secure, but we don't have protection.
Well, maybe we need to push that building issue again a little harder.
Yeah.
Because I think Cynthia wrote back and said that, you know, at that time, they weren't comfortable with it. But now that they know a little bit more about what we're thinking, that might be a possibility. I don't know why one helicopter inside of there would dictate what else you can put in there. I mean, that helicopter was in there for years when other planes were in there. So I think it's just a conversation we need to have.
How many other helicopters do we get in that airport?
Used to be a lot. It used to be that the Columbus PD would come down and have their helicopters fixed there, updated or whatever annually, but I don't know that they're still doing that.
I don't think they are either, because when the helicopter mechanic retired.
Now, you do get the guys that fly the power lines, and you do get, in the spring and fall, you do get the helicopters that are spraying farm fields. They'll park their truck there and land and fill their chemicals back up and then take off. But the only one that's being stored there is the life flight helicopter. I have a contract from the building department for them to start work in Greenfield. It's the email that came with it.
What's to begin in April? Standard off-site agreement to do their electrical or building inspections in the city of Greenfield, following the city of Greenfield or village of Greenfield's guidelines. No changes in terms of our 2006 resolution. We good with them going into Greenfield?
We keep saying we're gonna talk about it more and ask some questions, and we haven't. And I don't wanna hold things up, but I just, again, wanna make sure we understand the value and return on what we're doing with all of these other communities and assuring that we're putting our residents in front of the line before we start picking up more and more communities, because we're in Highland County, both with Hillsborough and now potentially Greenfield, Jackson, basically all the contiguous, plus are we still in an engagement with Chillicothe or not?
No.
No, they've taken over.
They've taken over.
That's created some space, but you can, on the monthly report that Lauren gives us for the staff meetings.
I think the mayor's email last week was that they were hoping to switch over April the 1st.
Right.
Yeah.
David didn't know that it would happen not David. Josh didn't think that it would happen that fast, but we'll see. But that's the plan, is to switch over on the 1st. Said there's a lot of paperwork and stuff.
Because they had to send stuff to the state, and I think Greenfield's still in contract with the people who was doing theirs.
No, they canceled it.
They canceled the contract, okay.
Yeah, it's not as thick as you think it is, and the incomes are there as well.
Yes, the incomes is there, so we're good on that. I just,
Josh said he'd be here this morning, but he's meeting with them over there today to discuss some stuff too.
well, we're getting that email from somebody over in the Greenfield area about the park, and
I had 7 of those over the weekend, but I didn't share them unless you wanted. Same fella.
Look, maybe now isn't the time to, we'll dive into that. Maybe we do a comprehensive plan in
apple cart, change the approach. I just was saying, consider probably using that way, so. My thing is, just go ahead and,
Yeah, he really is.
because that, you know, the grant funding is really not going to do anything, because we're not running that. I think we're doing this whole money. That, you know, they got everything on that. This guy's just mad. He's mad at the city manager.
Oh, you're talking about that?
Yeah. So he's going back. I don't have a problem going.
No, this is from the last.
Oh, the last
It's gonna bring us a
year.
little bit of cash, a little bit of money into the county. Josh,
Yeah.
2024, we did work in
Um,
15, or no, we didn't do any in Adelphia or Greenfield. 10, 11 places other than Ross County. Chillicothe, Bainbridge, well, that's all Ross County. Pike County, Piketon, Waverly, Clarksburg, Beaver.
in the county.
And that was $150 out of Beaver, one stop. You know, the income offsets are fixed rates. And that's, we stopped doing the city. Chillicothe was $83,000 they were spending on last year.
Because I saw that Jim here said there were like 10.
That outpaces all the other ones pretty substantially. So you talk about the dollar value versus the number of heads, it's gonna be pretty similar. So losing Chillicothe is substantial. Yeah. And that's gonna be commercial and residential.
Yes.
Like I said, I think we can go ahead and execute the contract for now, but I think there's still more conversation down the road on what needs to happen with our approach. I get and appreciate that it's a revenue driver, supplements, but I'd rather not supplement it at all and put our folks, for the mission of the building department isn't to create revenue for the community, it's to get things approved safely and keep development moving on track. And I'm not suggesting that they're not, but at some point you keep taking on new communities, you're going to have to expand the capacity of the building department. And at what point does that break-even point, or at what point does it stop being a benefit to us? And that's really why I think I'm not prepared to be that analyst, but I think as we look through what we're doing with the comprehensive plan, we should have some answers around how is our building department compared
Yes.
to other communities of similar size and similar place. And again, I've said before, I think it's useful to be a partner to the region, but I just want to make sure that we're not doing so at the expense of efficiency. Because you look at that, Ross County is big enough in terms of land. You go clear from McLean or Hillsborough all the way down to Jackson, you're looking at a two-hour drive at least in some spots. So how
The other thing is now is Josh is not doing residential in Ross County.
right?
He was in the city, but he's not doing anything, but now the city has their own, so he won't be doing residential, period.
Yeah, we have never done anything in Jackson. So I'm looking at
Okay,
it.
maybe I'm
It goes
mixing
back
up
to-
Jackson and
He was talking about it at one time, it's probably what you remember. But I got a report here that goes back to 2014.
Were you offended while you stopped?
I haven't seen it. No, I've seen it on
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thanks, John. Thanks.
I'm fine with it.
So that's second.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye. Anything else, Brad?
Yeah.
That can go to Kathy. We'll get it back. Josh. Next thing I have is the cleaning contract for the service center.
Okay.
I got them to sign it last week. Need you to sign it there, and then I'll have the auditor sign there. It says we have the money. Here's the top part of it. This is the contract there, actually.
Didn't this save us some money?
Oh, $100,000.
Yeah. Anybody have a problem with
No. I don't
Saves
think so.
$100,000.
I mean, we need it.
We'll just, at first we'll fall in behind them to see if they are clean or not.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had to send our own maintenance staff out there last week because First Capital has not done their job.
Yeah, the heart's not in it.
No.
So this takes
So
over
moved.
effective when?
Second.
We're gonna ask them to start next week on Monday and go out there and just do a cleaning. And then that'll kick in after
Okay.
that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're gonna let First Capital know that they don't need it. Once I get them out there, they don't need it. Their contract ends at the end of the month anyway.
I mean, it's just.
Who moved and seconded? I seconded.
Yeah,
No,
it
needs done.
needs to be done, you know, when you
It's
go
a
out there
mess
and
right now.
Brad's group goes out there, or the maintenance guys go out there, and they look at it, it's the same freaking cobweb, the same pile of dirt, the same form. Somebody's not doing it.
I don't like it.
Especially when you have.
No, I did for a while, but I was like, this, I don't like it. I didn't do that when I was a state
More
farmer.
things.
Going you. I need a different job.
You get paid more than that.
Hey,
We signed the agreement.
Thank you. Let's see here. Kenworth thing.
We're just waiting on Kenworth.
I don't know.
If you guys are happy with it, I'm tickled.
John, this is for you.
here's an easy one.
That was a good deal. Everybody goes vacations, but us schools.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
John, this is for you.
This is grant for the next phase at the airport, which is the tarmac. And they're moving this tie out to the taxiway, because they don't like coming off the tarmac straight out to the taxiway. So it'll be rebuilt there. This will be for next year's stuff. Let's see, I need you to sign.
Hey, was this where it's happening? How you doing, man? I heard it was last night. You know, my wife knows how big it is.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
What's going on? Hey, how are you?
Pretty sure.
This is for that construction.
It's for the grant for that construction for, that's our next grant coming up. So we already have the grant for the construction. We have that money. This is for the next phase.
In favor?
Aye.
How are you?
Take the money.
Yeah, that's right.
One more out.
That's their vacation.
I think that's the FAA sign. That's the FAA. No, you see that. That's the FAA.
I'd be happy to do it. I mean, hey, I'm on the ASAP for it, so.
And this is the same kind of document. This went through all these things that we have to say. National Historic Preservation Act, and we go through all this stuff, yes. And we do
This is one for you.
each one of these pages has the Department of Transportation Act, Section 4A, 4Fs, you know, each one of these, that's what you sign, saying that we've looked into all that stuff and taken care of. This is the actual grant
He's in Florida,
application.
okay.
Let's see, I think there's two pictures.
This is for Depew.
Morning.
Huh?
Still got.
Is that right?
Just thinking about dying.
$125,000.
Hi, sir.
Should dye green next month.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
Don't be, you're giving them bad ideas.
That was my reference.
It's next Monday, isn't it?
It is next Monday. It's my granddaughter's birthday.
Is that a day off?
No, it's St. Patrick's Day.
I thought that you were dying to clear
Well,
green.
they're Irish.
It was gonna be a day off.
I think everybody's Irish something.
About my 18th, we make it to the full term every time. My 12th.
That isn't what I just said.
Right down here at the bottom.
Okay,
So moved.
second, all in favor, aye?
You're right there at the last, yeah, right there. Jeff, they gave me easy.
Hey, John.
Exactly. John, I got something for you. Thank you, sir.
The minutes of the prior.
Oh, all right, that's it for me. For now.
Don't forget your time sheet.
Hey, already done. So, is it Ty and Brad are the voting members? Just Brad. Just Brad.
Is that the one, right?
Yeah. That's right, one's Ann Tracy, Green Township, that's right. So Brad's gonna be the voting member.
Ty, did you get you guys contracts?
We did. We did. I just need to send it over.
Okay.
We'll sign it, we signed it.
We just got into the pickle.
Yeah, we have it and get to you by the end of the day.
Okay, okay.
4 more minutes in case Kevin wants to come back in. He'll be in 10 minutes.
Sean and Nick, which of you are the voting member?
Sean is technically. Okay. Jeff, are we doing a separate one for the city? For
The
the
city first and then the county. Yeah, 2 separate meetings, but they're just back to back.
You going numerically with these, Jeff?
Yes.
That's good. Wire out of me. That's for the air. Take a look at this one.
Just pitching some.
56 gallons.
Two girls in grade class.
I've counted those there are.
Essentially, these are three girls that did. Keep forgetting it. They were
routine and create zero jobs, so.
We'll be young and fast.
We should have.
That's what it looks like. I'll confirm that. That's.
My thing is, Brad, everybody who has a plane out there knows what this is.
Said, I think it's gonna.
We'll send that calendar out with the
So like I said, they already know that we're already, the guys who've been flying out here anyway already know.
They do, but they don't know how long it is.
Yeah.
And when it's gonna start.
I think 500. As of today,
Pretty tough non-schedule, or non-government.
Another.
So we just have to
They're not the So,
But these ones with the guy here, it's like
Your first time in that area.
Yep, we have 11 o'clock, buddy.
All right, we can get started. 11 a.m., we'll start with the city portion of the Tax Incentive Review Council. The attendees are the commissioners, on behalf of themselves, I assume. Me as auditor, Tammy's here on behalf of the city. Sean Porter on behalf of the school district. John Davis on behalf of Pickaway Ross. And John Rose on behalf of Unioto. If you'll review the minutes of the prior meeting, please. And do we have a motion to accept?
We'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Any objections? Okay. Purpose of this meeting is to review existing tax abatement agreements for their compliance with relevant sections of state law and make recommendations regarding each agreement to the taxing authorities under which they apply. Public notice for this meeting was provided last week as part of the Ross County Commissioners' agenda for today. First, we'll look at the CRA report for Three Amigos Chillicothe, labeled LI-AR-108335. Any conversation? I will make a motion to recommend extension.
Second.
Any objections? Okay. Next, we have the CRA report for Three Amigos Chillicothe, labeled LI-AR-104054 for Three Amigos at 47 South Paint Street. This is Mighty Children's. Any conversation? I'll
Make a motion to extend.
What's that?
I'll make a motion to extend.
I'll second. Any objections? Okay. Next, we have the Carlisle building. It's actually labeled New Carlisle LLC, but that's a holdover from the original application. Any discussion on that one?
I do have a question. Is
Yeah.
the new Carlisle building, is it fully tax exempt?
Partially, yeah.
It's partially tax exempt.
At
So
this point.
was it, so is this gonna have, I mean, this wouldn't have any effect on it anyways, right?
No, yeah.
Because they are tax exempt.
I expect that we're gonna be getting an order to make it fully tax exempt from the state at some point, but we have not yet.
Yeah.
So this is to extend the status quo another year.
And again, I'm trying to just learn here. I've been in this position. So
Sure.
for these things, who are we getting payroll information? Are we compiling anything, any kind of data to make sure that these folks are upholding their end of the bargain on this? Again, I don't have any objections, just purely learning.
Well, this was a conversation last year, and so what we get are these reports that are filled out by the entities themselves. And, this discussion last year was around if any of the members of this council wanted to do a deeper dive with Adina, I think you could. It's just a question of, is somebody gonna take that initiative? You know?
I didn't know if maybe it would be worth recommending to vendors to send in maybe a verified payroll report or anything like that just to verify. Again, like I said, don't know if it's beneficial. We only have 3 in this district, so again, it's not like it's, and I know CRAs are different than abatements. I would be interested in discussing maybe if it is legal to do 100% abatement with pilot payments in our district if we decided to do more. I don't know if it's legal. That'd have to be a question that I need to ask, but I'd be open to that. Only other thing is the CRA, I know the CRAs in Green Township was to revamp old buildings. Is that the goal of the CRAs in Chillicothe District as well, school district? Well, I guess what is the goal when we
I think
abate?
that's a matter for the school district and the city to discuss together.
Okay.
I mean, any
So-
future agreements under the city CRA are gonna originate there. So I think that's a matter for you
Okay.
guys to decide how you wanna.
Is there no
approach
one
that.
present here?
What's that?
Is there no one present here for the city? Is it Luke that I need to talk to then?
Tammy's here on behalf
Oh,
of the city.
Tammy is, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have a discussion
So,
with Tammy
okay,
then.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
Tammy is the city's representative. Dan Dement, councilman, is their other representative. He's not able to be here today, but Tammy is here as the mayor's appointee.
So Tammy, do you know, is the goal of the CRA, is it to revamp old buildings, is it, what's the?
Right, and it's building specific within the city, so this particular, excuse me, CRA was to return the Carlisle Divided.
Yeah, I knew it was,
Right.
yeah. So the same thing with the other 3 buildings, I'm guessing, too?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I think what you said, though, is a good question, because as it relates to what the TERP is meant to do, is to review the terms of the agreement that was made and make sure that whoever is the beneficiary of that incentive is following through. I think the data question that you brought up would depend upon what the terms of the agreement are and what we're incentivizing. So you can incentivize property for the purpose of employment because it's a large employer, in which case, if the terms of that agreement stated you would have X number of employees or X minimum dollars of payroll per year, then the payroll would be sufficient. If it's another type of incentive that's meant to utilize some sort of public-private partnership to extend road infrastructure, well, then you would want to have some different type of data that would say these X number of dollars were spent to improve the infrastructure. But I think you're dead on. That's the purpose of why we're all here, is to make sure that all the stakeholders who are party to these agreements and these incentives are getting the taxpayers' value out of it.
Yeah, completely agree, and again, I don't have any objections to it, just purely learning and knowledge-based stuff, so appreciate that. So, yeah, no, good, yeah.
Yeah. Any other conversation? I will make a motion to recommend extension.
Second.
Jack, any objections? And then last, for the city portion of the meeting, we have JC Properties of Chillicothe. This is an easy company report labeled 007-22-01. Any discussion on this one? I'll make a motion to recommend extension.
Second?
Tammy Tam, second. Any objections? All right, is there any other business to discuss at this time? I will make a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting at 11:09 a.m. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any objections? We are adjourned. And then we'll turn around and do the county portion next.
That's right, yeah. You're free to leave.
I'm released, all right.
Thank you. It's funny, everyone can't wait to get out of this meeting.
Not true.
That's
not true.
Not true. Not true?
All right. Enjoy being here, Jeff.
Okay,
I'm excited.
it's 11:10. Let's start the county portion.
Hey, Jeff, when you say the county portion, can you say when it was started?
You mean
The-
when each abatement?
The abatement.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah, we can do that.
That's a good plan. Thanks, baby.
Okay, 11:10, commissioners on behalf of themselves, me as the auditor, Barry's here on behalf of Green Township, Brad Depew, you are here on behalf of Zane Trace, John Davis on behalf of Pick Ross. If you'll please review the minutes of the prior meeting, and then if we have a motion to accept.
I'll move we accept the minutes.
I'll second. Any objections? Okay. Purpose of this meeting is to review existing tax abatement agreements for their compliance with relevant sections of state law and make recommendations regarding each agreement to the taxing authorities under which they apply. Public notice for this meeting was provided last week as part of the Ross County Commissioners' agenda for today. First, we will review EZ report labeled 080-19-01 for Riffle. This was executed October 9th, 2019, according to the records. Barry, is that what you were wanting?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Any discussion on this one? I'll make a motion to recommend extension. Any second?
Second.
Any objection?
I'd like to ask a question too, to piggyback off of what Treasurer Overley was asking about is what do we do as far as, what kind of power do we have? We've asked this question before, and I think it's come up a few times.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a couple entities, even, or one entity last year that didn't even choose to fill out the paperwork at all, and it's been that way for a couple of years now. They seem to have done it this year.
Hold on. That was true initially.
Yeah.
But we sent it back to Rick.
And they got it taken care of.
And they got it right the second.
But just, you know, we're putting some teeth into it. I feel like that was putting a tooth into it, you know, and to kind of go further with that,
Yeah.
and to Commissioner Glass's, the question was, you know, what do we have as an entity to verify that these jobs are either being maintained or created? I know in one of these entities, Kenworth, for instance, you know, there was a layoff. I think they always talk about their election year layoff. Now, again, Kenworth has been a great partner with us. We don't want to, you know, of recent months, so we're very happy with them. But as an example, that would be something that, you know, do we get payroll reports that are attached to these things? You know, is it designed for us to simply believe what the entity tells us, you know, and reports and move on that information?
So we discussed that last year. I think you were part of that conversation, and everyone agreed that any member of this council that wants to do that deeper dive, of course, is free to. I'm not going to harass anybody for payroll records, but if you guys want to, you're free to do it.
I think I asked last year, so as a member, as a voting member of this council, am I allowed to walk into Ripple and say, hey, I'm a voting member of this council, I need to see your payroll records, and is that something that they're going to provide?
I think you can do that. The question is whether they'll comply.
Right.
I don't know if they can be forced to hand that over.
Okay.
But I think you're free to do whatever you want.
Because I think they're a private corporation, so I don't know that, you know,
Yeah.
obviously using public tax dollars, but I'm curious as to what that looks like, you know?
And again, this council, we make a recommendation. In this case, we make a recommendation back to Green Township. And if Green Township and the Ohio Department of Development say, you know what, we don't like your recommendation and we want to cancel this, I think they can do that. But this council doesn't have ability to cancel anything. We make a recommendation. So I think your approach to this, and not you, any member of this council, your approach to it is really up to you as far as how you want to execute these responsibilities. And I'm not going to tell anybody that they can't do something if they want to, so.
It seems to be that a lot of these are going to be going away, and I don't see any new to be talked about, at least on the agenda. So, you know, I don't know what it's worth now, but going forward, it would be an interesting process to put into place, you know, to be able to say, hey, we'd like to see some reports or something like that. You know, I think the trustee at Verify, you know, that we're looking at here. So just a point I'd like to make.
If I could add on just a little bit to what you're talking about, Brad, this is the requirement that the Department of Development has set forth that Mr. Lehner is enforcing, so it doesn't require that they submit payroll reports, so that's
They
why
can put
we never
anything
ask
they want
for
on
it.
there, and that's, okay. I just want to make sure everyone knows that that's how the process works.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, any objections to recommending extension of this riffle agreement? Okay. Next, we have EZ report number 080-18-01 for Kenworth. Any discussion on this one?
I can move. Could you read that again? Zero, what was the number?
Yes, 080-18-01 for Kenworth.
I'll move on this one, Jeff.
Okay. Who's it?
Second.
Duty second. Any objections? Next, we have Easy Report number 007-15-01 for Riffle. Any discussion on this one? I move to recommend extension.
The year, Jeff?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
2/22/16.
I still have it with you.
Yes, 2/22/16. Barry, is that a second too?
Yeah.
All right.
sure.
Any objection? Next, we have 080-14-100 for Georgia MH. This is actually the last year of this agreement.
Yeah, I should.
So I guess in this case, I'll make a motion to inform the Ohio Department of Development that this agreement will expire at the end of this year. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
Any objection? Next is Easy Report 007-24-01 for Kenworth. This project is still in development and is not yet in active abatement. As such, I will move to recommend extension. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Who's that?
Brad.
Brad. Any objection? Next is 080-15-100 for Vidito. Any discussion on this one?
Similar to Georgia MH, I think this is the one that also will be set to expire to this calendar year.
That's correct, yeah. So I'll make a motion to notify the Ohio Department of Development. Do we have a second?
Second. Brad.
Next is 080-15-01 for Near River. Do we have any discussion?
So there was an email that was sent by Auditor Leonard in regards to this one, is that correct? Is this the one that?
No, that's the second one. He has another
Yes.
project that he hasn't started yet.
Well, Brad, are you referring to the fact that it's in development?
So Narrow River has two of them?
Near River has two agreements. One is active, and that's this one.
One's not active because they haven't started anything.
That's right, yeah. But this is the one that's active.
Okay. And it's set to end in December of '27? This is a neat one to look at, Commissioner Class. If you can see, if you look at this one, it started in August of 2016. Again, set to end at the end of December of 2027. It's interesting to see some of the numbers reported as far as its economic development in the area. They don't have a payroll at this point, at least as per their report. But then they say there's 25 jobs that are created. So I don't, and then with $450,000 in new payroll. So, you know, I don't know if this is what's created over a period of those years, Tammy? Like 11 years, he's created 25 jobs and $450,000 in payroll?
Can I interrupt you and comment?
I'm asking, yeah.
Sure. I made calls about this one because I told Mr. Lehner, I feel that these numbers on this report are low, and that's because it's being completed by the developer and not by the people who are actually on the site. So there are two businesses that are working out of this facility. One of them is General Fasteners. They currently have 8 people on payroll. Petland is also using the other half of the facility, and they have 12. So currently they're at 20 people. His estimate of 10 people as of December 2024 is not accurate. So I don't know what the proper step moving forward is, if we have to ask to amend this one, or if I could just make those comments and have it passed. I'll look to you for that.
Personally, I'm fine with you making the comments. I mean, Jim is the developer and the lessor, and so yeah, he's probably not the one to go to for 100% accurate payroll figures. However, it is his property and it is his abatement, so I'm fine with what Tammy has offered here, but I'm only one person here.
So it brings up an enormous question. I think we all are wanting to ask that question. So the developer, it gets the benefit of the abatement, correct? Who are the two businesses that the developer has in their warehouse or in their area?
General Fasteners and Petland.
And to our knowledge, Petland and General Fasteners have not requested an abatement, correct?
That's right.
And they don't get the benefit of an abatement. So we're giving an abatement to a developer.
Yes.
So I know that we just recently, in Green Township, our trustees has denied a developer a similar abatement because we didn't see any. If you're going to build a building and house businesses in it, are you really creating jobs? And that's the question. And I think that it was answered at the meeting with our trustees. It said, you know, there's no jobs created there. Not only that, that person was getting seven figures in stimulus to try to help build that building. So, you know, again, I just want to make sure we're sticking to what this is designed to do against the economic development and the job creation piece. You know, all for it, talking to Petland and General Fasteners about what we can do to help them expand. But are we giving developers these tax breaks? You know, are we doing it correctly?
Can I explain why?
Please.
Sure. So right now, we see probably 2 to 3 requests a month that come from Jobs Ohio for sites that are turnkey ready. These are people who need square footage so that they can either come to our community or expand in our community. We don't have any. So we need people like Jim Neer who are willing to take the risk to build square footage for us. This abatement was before my tenure here, but it was explained to me that it was difficult to get the county to approve an enterprise zone abatement for what was then a spec building. But I think this has been an exercise that shows we were able to accommodate 2 businesses who were looking, one who was new to our community and one who was looking for a way to expand in our community because we have the square footage available. We currently today are trying to encourage other developers to build for us because we don't have square footage. And we have specifically one business who's going to leave our community if we can't find him 200 square foot. So 200? We need 200 square foot for a current manufacturer who's here in 200,000 square feet. I'm sorry, 200,000 square feet.
I just said, we'll put him up here.
That's very small. 200,000 square feet. And they're going to move, frankly, to Pike County because we don't have it. So we're constantly trying to encourage developers to build spec for us because it's only spec for a very small amount of time. That's why.
Would it be the case, Tammy, what's your estimate for how many actual FTEs are at this site? Do you have that?
20.
Would it be the case that these are people who are paying Zane Trace's income tax? How does your income tax?
They have to live in our district.
Is that right? Okay, so
Some
it's
of
not
them
working.
could, but we don't know.
Yeah, we couldn't, I mean, we'd have to take a poll of those employees to see which ones actually live there.
So your school district income tax is just residents, not people who live elsewhere but work?
Yep.
Okay.
And then Green Township was trying to change that with the CRA in addition of the JET agreement. You know, we're trying to start to do something a little different there, to try to capture some of these folks who move into our district. I think the lion's share of our tax base move in, or of the employees move into our district. Very few live there, you know. You talk to Kenworth and Rickle and some of these folks, a lot of people driving in from Pike County or Washington Courthouse or Jackson or whatever, so we don't have any way to capture any kind of tax base there.
Okay.
If I could, just because I feel like I started some of this conversation, I think going back, I was speaking in general terms, to specify a little more, each tool that we have, whether it be TIF, CRA, Enterprise Zone, JED, they all exist to serve a different purpose. And the whole point of the Turk is to review annually if that incentive, whatever it be, is serving the purpose that it's meant to. In the case of CRA and Enterprise Zone, really, I mean, the terms are meant are left to the stakeholders who are party to that agreement and that engagement. I would view something like a spec building as a positive to the school district, whatever that school district be, in the long term, if the terms are protecting you sufficiently from concern with a pilot or whatever it be. For Enterprise Zone and CRA, in my view of it is, from an economic development side, you have a shortage of sites, so you're reducing and mitigating the risk on the part of the investor. You all are taking a hit for a short term. Well, you're really not if you're doing a pilot payment that's going to protect you and you're otherwise would be inside millage. But once that tax abatement comes off the rolls, it comes back to full value. In fact, it comes back to the value that you're receiving 15 years later, after 15 years of valuation. You're protecting yourself with a pilot. You're also receiving the same revenue. You're not abating the existing taxes on whatever that piece of property was prior to development. So if it's if it's an ag ground, you're probably getting CAUV still throughout that entire term of that agreement. My point earlier was to say that if we are asking for whatever validation is for that incentive, is to go back into the terms of the actual agreement and look toward why that was being executed at the time that it was, and are they meeting those obligations? That's to say, we're the only entity in the county responsible for that oversight. I think it's a little bit more important to double check things like a TIF or a JED, because the revenue that's going to that incentive is dependent upon payroll. So if you've got a JED, you're levying an income tax. If they're not paying people like they said they would be, or they're not hiring as many people, you're going to see shortfalls in the revenue. In most cases, you may be using that revenue to reimburse or to drive some sort of new infrastructure that wasn't there. Exactly. So I think we're on the right track.
I think you're at the great point. So I guess what we want to do then is, you're exactly right. That's meant to give them an end and make sure that they're doing what we want them to do to get drive economic stimulation in our area. That's awesome. Once that economic stimulation has been driven, though, at what point do we say, well, we know we did this for you 5 years ago. You want another one? Well, yeah, we're going to build an entire new building where it's the same square footage, and we want it again. It seems like, I hate to use the term repeat offenders, that's not really what I intend to say, but it seems to be the same people. You know what I mean? At what point does it become an incentive and versus a handout, to some of these folks? I know when I created my businesses, I didn't ask for an abatement. I don't know about, Mr. Pinkerton, for instance, when he created his business, if he asked for an abatement, abatements are awesome to drive economic progress. I certainly don't want to ever be against that. I think it's beneficial to our district, but if it's used as an incentive over and over and over again, we're never able to recognize that extra tax dollar. It seems like there's always another cut that we're giving, we're asked to give another, and so over time, you do 12 or 15 of them in a given area, it can begin to hurt, and especially if you continue to basically renew them. And that's in a sense what they're doing, unless they can show that the job creation is actually there. And in this case, Mr. Nyer has asked for another one that he's not yet, but he's not gotten any incentive there. Is he going to be building a new space, Tammy?
He hopes to, but.
Because that was done in 23, right?
Mm-hmm. But, the cost of building has gone up since the abatement was approved. And he does, he develops in other counties. And so while we have the abatement in line when he starts building here, he thought he had a potential tenant, but he lost that agreement. So I think that he's probably focused on another county right now where he knows he can fill the space. But we need people like Jim Muir who are willing to build for us. It's difficult to find someone who's willing to assume that risk.
I believe he lives in Pike County too.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
I think I have a lot of hope in this effort that we're doing, that you all have been a part of with the comprehensive strategic plan. A big piece of that is going to be looking at how we currently incentivize things and how we can right-size our incentive process for the types of things that we want to attract within the community countywide and within the different school districts and townships. But at the end of the day, Brad, as you listed out all those points of why or why not to support something, ultimately that depends upon the three or several entities that are a party to whatever that agreement is: the township, the school district, and the county. But I think it's a good conversation to have, and I think it's a good time to have it as we're going through the comprehensive plan to think about, are we doing these? And I'm not saying that we haven't done them correctly. I've been to Zane Trace and heard the feedback from board members like Brad and from residents. The way that we address that, I think, going forward is to go through this comprehensive planning effort, understand what we're doing, what types of things are going to meet the needs of the community and prepare us for future growth. Because Tammy, you're right, we do need Mr. Neer to keep building. We've got a shortage.
Any other conversation here? I will move to recommend extension. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Right. Mr. Pugh, any objections? Next is Riffle's agreement number 080-13-01. This one actually expired at the end of last year. I will move to report its expiration to the Ohio Department of Development. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Is that John? Any objections? I don't think it would matter if there were. Depending on who it is, I guess. I don't know. Next is EZ report number 080-23-01 for Near River. This is the other one, Brad. This is still in development and is not yet in active abatement. As such, I will move to recommend extension. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is that Jack? Any objections? Next is EZ report number 080-21-01 for Kenworth. Any discussion on this one?
I'll move.
Who's that?
Second.
Davis and Glass. Any objections? Next is EZ report number 080-23-02 for Riffle. Any conversation on this one? Do we have a motion to recommend extension?
So,
Jack?
Second.
Is that Udi? Any objections? Any other business to discuss at this time?
I'd like to bring up another idea. I think that you guys have danced around a little bit. So what I would like to try to propose is that we create some kind of a menu. I've discussed this at the township meeting, Green Township. I think our township trustees are in favor of looking at something like this. But you look at, and I solicited the help of Stacy Overley. He was the longtime treasurer for Hayes Valley School District, and they really negotiated some. I think Mr. Glass has a little bit of experience with what they were able to talk about up there at Hayes Valley. But I think that this is really important that we all collaborate. And as has been mentioned a couple of times today, the county, the township, and the school districts all get together. But if we could put together some kind of a menu for some of these folks, and help with Mr. Leonardo as well, and say, look, you know, if you're bringing this many jobs, and it would make these meetings like, hey, this is what we put together, guys, and we all agreed upon. So these meetings would go like that, as long as they're being followed. But you know, is there an ability for us to put together some kind of a menu? And I don't know what other term you would use for that other than that term, but you know, for some of these corporations who want to locate in our area, you know, and say, hey, you know, if you want to come move here, we'd love to have you here. Here's some things to choose from as far as what you can do and how we would like to incentivize you to be here.
And Brad, what you're talking about would help us know what we can market to try to attract other developers. In the past, we've always been reactive to a developer who says, we need this to make this happen. Mm-hmm. And we've not used tips and JEDs in our community yet. We're learning how those work.
And pilots.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that that's a great idea for us to get with you and find out what the school districts and the townships would find palatable so that we can put together a menu, your word, of how we can go about marketing the community to other developers and show them why it's important for them to develop here.
Well, the good news is that there's no development in Coleraine and Springfield for Zane Trace. Which is part of the school district also. I want to throw that out there. Yeah, you know, make sure that we're aware of that. Most of the development so far has been in Green Township, and the I have no defense one way or the other, except to say that the trustees are in favor of development and those jobs, and the riffles and the infosites and so forth. We have okayed it, but it just seems to me that as trustees, we are not going to. We want to be in partnership and collaborate with everybody. But the trustees have to make decisions based on what the trustees need, you know, at this point, okay? And we want to collaborate every opportunity that we can.
Well, I think as Mr. Glass said, this is a great time for us to do it while we're doing a county strategic plan. I think it needs to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. That meeting we had out to Green Township the other night was great. I mean, it really was. And the comprehensive plan, so.
I think, Tammy, to your point that you made, is that no, I don't think what we want to do in any case would be, this is what Green Township would or wouldn't, or St. Trace would or wouldn't, or the county commissioners would or wouldn't. But to have that conversation so that there's at least an expectation of what do the what is the township looking for as their needs, and the school district their needs, and vice versa. I think, in my experience, that is a way better place to start than to be kind of with a deal on the end of the line, and now we're all trying to negotiate kind of against one another at the last minute, and that's not where we should be, and I don't think that's the intention of any single entity here. Let's talk about what types of growth we want to experience. To Mr. Bennett's point, his township is one of the fastest growing townships in the county, and I think now's a good time to start thinking about how we utilize not only CRA and EZ, but JED, TIF, and put back into what the needs are, and then use those as a tool to achieve our needs. And then we can go and face, with all honesty, someone who's trying to invest here and say, this is what the needs that have been expressed. If you don't meet that need, then you won't, you won't receive it. But I think that's a good direction.
When Tammy says, David, we need space for industry, we need housing.
Yeah. Well,
we need housing in Green Township, every township really. But when you go to Adena and you talk to people, I bet 85% or more come in from distance. You ask, where are you from? Well, I live in New Boston, I live in Portsmouth, I live in Dublin, and we need housing.
I think all that is included in the comprehensive plan housing.
It is.
The land use portion, and all this will play out, and that's when the community will get together and put the facts to the documents.
I think it's important to understand the housing aspect of things on the school district side, because
Sure
if we abate 100% of an apartment, we would need to see that property value 100%, because the way we educate students is by revenue, and if we're receiving a bunch of students, we're also going to receive a bunch of expenses on the back end. And so different types of developments affect school districts differently as well. And so it's important to keep that in mind. With an increase of families and increase of students, we also see a large increase in expenses. And so there would just have to be different agreements based on what developments are brought in. So like a big warehouse that's not going to bring in many families and not many students, it's not going to affect the school district expenses as much. It's kind of more of just a benefit to the area. Housing, for example, is going to bring in a lot of expenses to a school district because there's a lot of families and kids tied to that. And so and we rely heavily on property values, property taxes, and that's why housing is a more difficult discussion. And we would be happy to have those discussions in Chillicothe, but we couldn't be party to exemption of of those property taxes in Chillicothe at least?
No, I think that's will all come out of that comprehensive plan as an individual conversation with each one of those jurisdictions and what their needs are. The needs of Chillicothe School aren't going to be the same as Green Township, just because they're vastly different. But to the point earlier about Mr. Overly, who's the former treasurer in Tays Valley, they utilized industrial CRA for them to benefit themselves in the long term.
Yes.
They're one of the fastest growing school districts in the state. And so what they did was say, we're going to incentivize industrial development. Sure, we will not be receiving the full load of that for 15 years. We're going to mitigate our costs up front. But what they've done now is diversify their tax base and diversify their district's economy so that when literally thousands of homes have been built in just a short time, they're able to have the capacity to do that. We're not the same as them, I'm not suggesting that, but that mindset of what are the needs and how can we prepare for them by utilizing this incentivized growth is.
And David, also, you bring in new voters. You know, you have voters, if you look at Tays Valley, I'm very familiar with Tays Valley, and the new voters come in to approve things too. You know, they see that need. There are times levies are refused, but many times when a township, not a township, a school district grows like Tays Valley, they also bring in those new voters who are going to be there to vote for a levy in the school. So we have a great opportunity in Ross County and in Green Township. We really do.
You know, I think our biggest opportunity going forward is with the comprehensive plan, we get more of a say in designing what that looks like instead of just waiting and see what happens to us.
Right.
We do things on purpose, and that's an advantage.
We have money in that comprehensive plan, so we're very interested in it. You know, I mean, let's face facts.
You're one of the biggest benefactors as a size of the.
And we talk about JEDs. The township is the one that does all the work.
For sure.
Okay, I just want to make that clear, okay? You know, in terms of when that happens. And I think we are behind on those things for sure. We are.
Well, actually, you know what? I know what you said there, but I talked to our attorney, and I don't think we are. We're actually further ahead than you think, and certainly further ahead than a lot of districts. So we're doing a good job, guys. Let's not, I don't feel like we're
Well, I think we're behind on JEDs.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, you know, some people have done it more than others, but gosh, Barry, there's a ton of people who haven't even thought about it. So our attorney tells us that we're really ahead of some of this stuff, that it's not quite gotten to a point to where it's unmanageable, that we're a little tiny bit behind, but not really. He says that, talking to our attorney, he said he feels like we're really on top of this stuff.
Is that tomorrow?
No, it's Derek Haggerty. Okay. With Scott Scriven.
He works at Tays Valley.
Yeah, so he really feels like, I mean, obviously Tays was ahead of it, but he says, compared to other places in the state, that he really feels like we're ahead of this thing. So I appreciate everybody's efforts and willing to sit down and talk.
You know, I was talking to Marcella 11 years ago about Jets in Green Township. So, yeah, we've been swinging at this for a while.
Yeah. I'd like to see some of the, thank you for all the township, the work the township has done for us. I mean, it truly benefits us as well.
I got a doctor's appointment, I gotta get my wife to over Columbus. So, I mean, you guys can carry on, but I have to excuse myself.
I'll move we adjourn. Yeah, I think we can adjourn. Any other questions or comments or whatever? John has moved to adjourn at 11:44. I will second. If there are no objections, we're adjourned.
Good superintendent.
I'm sure.
Well done.
Been all over like the paper and stuff.
Second.
Jeff.
Yeah.
We have a vote on the comprehensive plan.
I don't know what you're
No, I didn't. That's why I only did it once. You got to draw me a price.
Oh, yeah.
We signed our house, so I don't know if you can have them either sign and then Todd and I sign. Yeah, Todd and I have them sign it.
What's that?
Sign it.
I'm talking about South Central.
They sign ours.
Would they sign it? Yeah, I talked to two people.
I mean, his, you know, so they should everybody else.
What'd you say about Ray? We got one.